The year is 2023. GeoGuessr is hosting its first ever official World Cup. The best players from around the world have flown into Stockholm, Sweden for their chance at $50,000. For many watching, this was their first introduction to GeoGuessr and the incredible roster of talent in attendance to compete. To those in the GeoGuessr community, however, most of the competitors were familiar faces, and some of those faces brought a certain expectation for how they would perform. One face that no one expected to make it very far, yet denied all expectation, was a player named Fau. This is the biggest underdog story in GeoGuessr history. Our story really begins back in July of 2022. A creator named Rainbolt had been rising to fame across all platforms, and after a video collaboration with Ludwig, he received a massive spike in popularity. With this, he launched the birth of his tournament series, GeoGuessr Saturdays. Myself, along with others, joined him every week to bring the most competitive high-level tournaments the game had ever seen. Fau first appeared as a player in the GeoGuessr Saturday scene who would consistently try and qualify for the weekly tournament series, but didn't have very much success. In July 2022, Rainbolt hosted the first ever GeoGuessr World Cup. Teams had to consist of 3 players, all from the same country. 2 well-known Canadian pro players at the time, CPE and Brad, desperately needed a third teammate for Canada, but struggled to get one until they finally picked up Fau to complete their team. At the time, Fau was nowhere near a top choice though.
I think this will definitely allow for some interesting outcomes today, especially considering some really good players had to pick up players that were maybe not as well known in these tourneys and stuff like that to finish out their team so they can all be from the same country. Should give some interesting things, some interesting lineups.
Yep.
I said it there on the cast, and this Canada team was a perfect example. It was 2 well-known pros making a pickup of someone unknown just to meet the requirements. Amongst other pros at the time, Fau was an especially surprising pick. At the time, Fau was basically only known as a GeoGuessr Discord admin, but besides that, not much else was known about him. This finally became his time to shine. Though they eventually got taken down by Rainbolt's Team USA in the quarterfinals, this helped secure Fau as a player people recognized. Well, to some extent. There was still a pretty decent bit of work to really prove himself. After the Rainbolt World Cup, Fau wouldn't be seen actually qualifying for a tournament until September 2022, a little over a month later. Once again, in this tournament, he would go out in the quarterfinals. It wasn't until his 3rd appearance, with almost another month break from the previous appearance again, that he would start to solidify himself as a name in the pro scene, making it to the semifinals with Brectify and Ocean Man. With this performance, he finally got the ball rolling. Fau would go on to make appearances in a total of 3 semifinals and 1 finals by the end of the Rainbolt tournaments. Definitely an impressive performance that helped solidify him as a name, but not necessarily a performance worthy of creating a very highly feared player. And though Rainbolt's tournament series ended, it helped inspire GeoGuessr themselves to start an official esports scene for the game. And so, they announced the first ever GeoGuessr World Cup, to be held in October 2023 in Stockholm, Sweden. The news swept through the community, bringing unheard levels of excitement for the dawn of a real, official, competitive scene for this game that we had spent so much time in with so little public interest up until this point. But, with this announcement came a decision for GeoGuessr. Who's going to compete and how are we going to select them? GeoGuessr cared highly about getting as much global representation as they could. So, they contacted Rainbolt and I to provide them with lists of 20 players we thought would be best to represent the world. On my list, I gave CPE as the Canadian pick. Rainbolt, on the other hand, didn't even pick anyone for Canada representation. But GeoGuessr, to many people's surprise, ended up inviting Fau. I speculate this was because of Fau's involvement as a moderator on the GeoGuessr Discord, but regardless, it was a surprising pick for most. Eventually, GeoGuessr had invited all 20 players they were to invite, with 4 slots being left open for the winners of a qualifier tournament that was yet to be held. Amongst the community, some people made tier lists of the invited players, with Fau being pretty low on most lists. and responses to these tier lists continued to put FAO even lower. Overall, expectations for FAO amongst the community were not too high. Eventually, the qualifier tournament was held, we had our full roster of 24 players, and it was time for the first ever GeoGuessr World Cup. FAO got placed in Group D, alongside Giovanni, Lenley, Blinky, Jake Lyons, and Harmless. This was a tough group.
Fungus, do you have any expectations with regards to performing in the tournament? With any specific placements you're looking for? Do you think you could take the whole thing?
Taking the whole thing would be tough. I mean, there's so many great players, but I'm definitely hoping to get to the second day, or at least to get to the knockout stage. I mean, I don't want to be... It's such a cutthroat competition, especially I feel like my group, Blinky Harmless, is just a crazy combo. Those are two of my favorites, to win if I'm looking at this objectively, to win the whole tourney. But I think as long as I'm able to control my nerve and get in a good, well-rested, good mental state, I think I could get to maybe the knockout stage or to at least day 2.
Even FAO feared his group, but he still had high hopes of at least making it to the knockouts, or maybe even the second day. His first match, which was also the first match I cast on the main broadcast, was up against Giovanni from Poland. In what I would now call classic FAO fashion in today's competitive scene, FAO started his World Cup run by winning his first match on none other than a Canada round. After taking the win, he joined us for an interview where we saw what would later progress into FAO's greatest strength, having his nerves in check.
We spoke yesterday and a bit today about coming into the tournament, what it's going to be like. Did it play out like you expected, or were there any surprises?
The amount of Poland was concerning, but apart from that, no, it kind of just felt like I was playing at home. Like, it really didn't feel too bad.
So you had a hold of the nerves then?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Well, you said the amount of Poland was concerning, but then you just won on a Canada round. So, what was that about?
Hey, we take those, we take those.
And with FAO's nerves in check, this brought him a big advantage over many players, even some he feared most in his group, like Harmless, where FAO went on to win 2-0 against him. At the end of groups, FAO sat in second place, having only lost one game to Blinky. Even still, he did manage to take Blinky to NMPZ. This was a massively impressive performance for the group stage, especially in his group where many thought of Blinky and Harmless as two clear favorites to win the entire event. With FAO securing second place, he also secured a chance to make it to the final day through the knockout round. Here, second and third place players from each group got paired for one-on-one matches to dwindle those 8 second to third place players down to only 4. FAO had the final knockout of the day, a grueling 9 hours and 30 minutes after the event started, and was up against Mate Potato.
Trevor, what do you think about the Fungus himself?
No, I getting the opportunity to meet Fungus, he's played my tourneys, he's always played great, but I think he's over exceeded his own expectations, and like we saw with Lindley, it's just like some players just like they have it right now and they have it today. And
Trevor said it there best. It all comes down to the day, how each player could actually perform in the hot seat, and some of them seemed to have it that day. FAO was one of them, but could he actually go all the way? As of now, Mate Potato was the only thing standing in his way from making it to the main stage in front of a live audience. With everything on the line, the moving game shocked all of those watching. With that, FAO gained a free moving game win. FAO was now sitting only one game win away from making it to the big stage, and he locked in. The no move started slow, with great guesses from both players keeping the damage minimal, but a big hit was bound to happen eventually with the multis racking up.
Any round, anything can flip,
I'm going to promise you a 2K damage round, okay? I'm going to promise you a 2K damage round right here, Paula.
Right here?
I like it. I like the call.
I'm going to give you a 2K damage round here.
Okay.
We're going to spice it up.
I'm looking.
Should be, I think this is just like Northern Italy, if I'm not mistaken.
There it is.
I don't know which cursor that is. We have one in Florence. Yeah, they're both. Yeah.
Oh.
And that's a great guess.
That's a great guess by Fungus.
That is going to sting, and there it is, Paula.
But Mate Potato made a big hit right back. 2 rounds possible left to go. And with 2 final blows, May Potato goes down, and Fao makes it to the top 8. Fao very happy to make it to day 2, but that day 2 did start with him having the very first match, and up against Debre of all people. Debre was another player many had in their top picks for winning the whole event. So just because Fao made it to day 2, most people's predictions at this stage had Debre taking the match. But let's see how it played out. Fao continued to chip away health, just outguessing Debre on the first moving game, though Debre held out until the very end. After that, Debre had to reset the mental and lock in, and let's just say he did.
10 seconds on the clock. Where will Fungus go?
Oh.
He doesn't know. He could lose massive points here if someone's right.
He doesn't like it. You can see the look on his face, but he's going to the west. He's going Perth. Hold on a second.
Do we have Perth curbs?
He's got to lock in. He's going Perth. Oh my God. This is going to stink, folks.
No, it's Brisbane.
Oh! He's hanging
Fungus
off by
doesn't
this
know
river.
where to guess here. He's 15 seconds on the clock.
Is this
He's
extra
still,
time benefiting him, though? Just giving him more time to think.
Where's Fungus going to zoom is a question. He has no marker down. He's 7 seconds. He doesn't even look like he needs to get guessed down. 5 seconds left.
5 seconds.
Here
You
he
got to
goes.
start zooming, son.
He's going Estonia.
Estonia? Oh, my goodness. And, well, not exactly Estonia.
Wow. Well, we
say
were both
that.
wrong.
Debre regained his confidence massively with that, and those watching saw a glimpse of what they were actually expecting to see from this matchup. Now it was time for the NMPZ tiebreaker. On the analyst desk directly before this game, I had mentioned that Debre and Tribota were the 2 best NMPZ players in the tourney, and my prediction was that if Debre and Fao made it to NMPZ, Debre would win the match. But Fungus shocked with what ended up being one of the best guesses in the entire event. And with that, Fao not only won the NMPZ, but barely took any damage at all, making it to the semi-finals. Now, Fao was up against Consis. Consis made it through the qualifier tournament where he didn't lose a single match. Then, in his group, he again did not lose a single match. In the quarterfinals, he faced Lenley, where he won in a convincing fashion. And now, Fao, of all people, had to face him. Fao, the player who was a random pick to meet a quota for his first professional tournament, who no one expected to be the invite for Canada. This player, Fao, had made it all the way to the semifinals and was up against a juggernaut. Fao had been performing much better than expected, but now that he was facing Consis in a best-of-5 format because it was the semifinals now, everyone expected a blowout. Most predictions at this stage were for Consis to dominantly 3-0 or maybe win 3-1. Let's take a look at how it actually played out. After a super close moving game where Fao had the lead going into round 9, Consis did classic Consis things and got an amazing guess to win the game. Next, no move.
Fungus still concerned on where he wants to region guess.
Okay, he's got...
He doesn't look as confident. Consis looks so confident. 2 seconds on the clock. He has to be right.
Hey, listen, it's the first
He
round.
knows it.
Oh my God, he's damn near 5K on this one.
And Consis kept that momentum going from game 1.
We do have a capital hedge here. Will it pay off? 2 seconds.
There's something to get.
How does he know?
Just north of Mexico City, Consis.
Consis!
Oh!
Just as people were expecting, Consis was now looking poised to take the game 3-0. He seemed unstoppable, but now it was back to a moving game, and Consis just needed one game to go to the finals. Both players in the red on health, we land on what would end up becoming a famous round. Fao's confidence put the pressure on Consis, and even though he realized he was wrong after guessing, Consis went across the continent, and Fao ended up being closer, winning Game 3. Fao was not out of it yet. Back to no move.
wrong?
Is Fungus right? Is he right?
Let's find out. Oh, it's gone. And you got a 5K. Oh, 5K, baby. 7,000 points, and we're going to NMPZ.
Now Fao was on a roll. With an insane 5K no moving, he actually brought Consis to NMPZ. No one expected this, let alone him even making it to the semifinals at all. And now he was one game away from the finals.
I see.
Fungus is recognizing it's Panama.
Oh, I still got it, yeah. Does that feel like Consis doesn't know
I
it's
don't
Panama
know
yet?
if Consis looks confused. Has he forgotten about Panama?
Uh-oh. Get that zoom in. He feels
No,
it. No, he's in the wrong place. Oh my God!
He missed it!
Oh, many Ian. And that's going to be a bit of pain. Look at the damage here. 2,900. Oh my God!
Finally, after one of the best, most exciting NMPZ games in GeoGuessr history, Consis did take the win. But it ended up being a super hard-fought battle. In my opinion as a caster and analyst for GeoGuessr, this was the closest match of the entire event, even more than the finals. And in the end, even though Fao did not win, he defied all odds, taking Consis all the way to Game 5, when no one even expected him to be invited. Fao has now gone on to become an absolute staple in the competitive GeoGuessr scene, getting 3rd place in the 2024 Americas Regional, and then making it all the way to the semifinals again during the 2024 GeoGuessr World Cup. Now, in the 2025 season, GeoGuessr has started their first ever league, which just ended recently, seeing Fao in 17th place overall and qualifying for the upcoming Americas Regional at DreamHack Dallas. And that's it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate you checking this out. I'm hoping this is only the beginning of me bringing you some of the best stories in GeoGuessr and GeoGuessr history. We've got the Majors and the World Championship coming up very soon. I hope to see you guys there, rooting for your favorite players at each event. I've been Bloom, and as always, peace.